This is TWiT.
Yes. And I guess that sort of leads right into my last question for you, Shel, which is, we can identify these problems and know that there need to be safeguards that aren't just driven by delivering value to shareholders. And that's where our government and our laws and regulations come in. In that podcast that you did for the XR podcast, you were talking at one point about smart speakers listening to things, and in general, a company like Amazon knowing not only sort of ambiently what's going on, but also all these other details about you, like everything that you've purchased. And it occurred to me when I was listening to that but wait a second, they're not going to know everything that you purchased, because there are some things that you simply can't purchase with Amazon, like alcohol. So it won't know if you've bought several cases of beer lately, because there's a law that's coming at that situation obliquely and was never designed to curb Amazon knowing things about you. It was designed to curb minors from getting alcohol, and it makes it difficult to have alcohol delivered to your house without having a 21-year-old sign for it, et cetera, et cetera. So companies wash their hands of that, and Amazon in particular doesn't sell it. So that's an instance where we have a law that's already in the books that's sort of acting as a check on a problem, and it never was designed for that. But I'm wondering what you think about how lawmakers, if they're equipped to make decisions about how we address these problems, and if you think that we're in an era where they're actually trying to do that.
This may be a cheap shot, but whenever I'm asked about lawmakers being in a position to decide, I remember the embarrassing moment when Dianne Feinstein asked Mark Zuckerberg the difference between Facebook and America Online.
Ouchie.
Regulators look at existing problems, and sometimes they do a good job of regulating for the safety of people. But when something is new and different and the dangers of it are unknown, it is very hard to trust our government. Even if we had a virtuous government, a corruption-free government, a government filled with people who are passionate about serving the public interest, how the hell are they going to figure out fake news impacting an American election for president? I don't know what government's role is, and I am convinced that at this point in our history, our government is even more broken than our technological master plans. And I say this with great sorrow, because I vowed all my life I would never become an old guy sitting in front of a camera and saying, it ain't like it used to be. But there are things that used to be that have changed inalterably and are hard to fix. Reputation. Our reputation used to be based upon a community that was within our geographic parameters. Now our reputations have things called personal brand and are distributed through networks that Bob Metcalf, whose law prevails over networks, had no idea were going to come out. I really don't know how to fix the problems I'm talking about. I'm hoping someone smarter than me hears some of the things that I rant about and figures out ways to fix them. How can AI make our government, let's say better? Better is one of those soft words that doesn't say anything, but how can it improve our government's ability to serve and defend its population? I don't know.
Well, I think the point that you've made about having humans in the loop is going to be critically important, whether it's something that's governmentally required or encouraged, or we figure it out because it's just the best thing to do. And I think a great example of that is if you don't have, if you need to make the point to people, what happens when you don't have humans in the loop? Just point them to the YouTube algorithm that constantly recommends videos for you when you've watched a few, and ask people how well they think that works.
How about Facebook advertising? That's contextual advertising.
Yeah.
They're supposed to know what I want. And if Eric Schmidt were in the conversation, he'd say, Google wants to anticipate what you're going to ask before you ask it. How are they doing so far?
Yeah. Not that great.